Do you watch My Hero Academia?
No, who's that?
You haven't seen it.
Oh.
I've never seen an episode of it, but the shirt was cute.
Okay.
It's because my friend loves it.
Oh, I
talking
see.
about it, so
I feel like I always mean to watch anime, but I didn't.
the only thing I've ever seen is Naruto.
Hi guys, so this is Gabby. I was here gonna interview my friend and old classmate Jose Carrasco. He recently published a book called Why Are There 10,000 Provinces? And I thought it was really great, so we're gonna talk about it today. Joe, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. But it seems polite.
Yes. Okay, so first, do you want to give us just a little bit about it? Tell us something, maybe the storyline a little.
Yeah,
so we get an idea.
It's about a lot of things, but mainly about like when you're young and wanting to like change what you've always known about your identity.
Yes.
So it starts out like that, and then it kind of sprawls into like it goes like from the identity of a person to like the identity of like an entire nation.
Yes, so I like that because it was very kind of a coming of age, and then it was also with society. It kind of just all tied together. And so going into that, your inspiration for the characters, the names, I thought they were really interesting. Where did those come from?
Well, the actual like the country Neabasco came before any of the characters.
Right.
I had envisioned that place like 10 years before I actually wrote the book. Well, actually like maybe 8 years or something like that. So the names were kind of like a mix of names that I was always struggling to like think of what would Neabastian names like truly sound like. Because every time I would come up with names, they're always like American or like Hispanic or something like that. But I always struggled to find like Neabastian names. So I think some of them they kind of just came to me.
It seemed like a unique culture.
Yeah.
So I can see that. It was like kind of a mix. There was some names where it was common and then others very unique, but they all went together, I thought. So that was a good mix.
Yeah, like some were kind of like based off the area that Neabasco like based around, and then some are like based off like the countries that have like invaded before. So.
And I was also wondering about the concept of Love to Dance, which is a reality TV show that is, it takes place in Neabasco, and I was wondering, like, where did you think of that? Do you watch reality TV at all, or was it just a unique concept that you thought would go?
Well, I watched it a lot when I was in high school, but I always wanted to like, I always felt like there was more to it than what people like give it credit for. I think when I was in high school, like MTV was playing like a Real World Marathon. So it was like the very first season. So I was shocked by like how different it was, like compared to like, early 90s.
Yes.
Like compared to how like contemporary like reality TV is. So I really got like, what if there was a place where like reality TV was like really like championed, and like loved.
And that's what I was going to say next, is that how in the story it seems that the media has a real strong like force over the community and the society as a whole. So I was thinking, do you really think that that is true in our world, or is that mostly just for the story, for the drama?
I think kind of like the short answer is like a little bit of both, but the long answer is like the thing about like BNT, right, is that it's like owned by the government. So like that's like where a lot of people in that place get like their ideas from. Like of the world and stuff. So my thing was that, like, the question that the characters are asking themselves is, like, what's the media's job, right? Like, is it to represent the people? Is it to kind of give a message to people about, like, how to live? Or is it, like, supposed to be, like, a vehicle for, like you said, like, more control?
Right. Like, so, it's an influence, for sure. I can see that.
Yeah, so it's like, I think no matter what, we can't control that it influences us. But they're really, some of the characters are really wondering, like, some of the characters do feel like it's absolutely, like, a control thing. And they're tired of it, and they're sick of it. But some people feel like it's just media, you know, like, and yeah, some of it's biased towards certain causes, but some of it, it's not, like, it's not as harmful as, like, other people think.
Right, and I think that it makes sense that in the story, some of the girls, they're in a dance group and they're approached by this reality show to broadcast. And maybe to the outside world it seems like a fun thing, but for them it did become, like, a big toll in a way.
Yeah.
So I think that that's relatable to now. I mean, reality TV.
And yeah, because I think, like you said, like, well, it goes beyond, like, the political influence, and more like the idea of, like, how much our lives are being controlled.
Right.
Because, like, everything's, like, on Snapchat now, and Instagram and stuff.
Yes.
So, like, everyone gets to be, like, their own star in a way.
Yes, that's a big thing right now.
So that's, like, the girls are asking themselves, like, we're selling our privacy, right? By doing this.
Right.
And it is giving us, like, a level of fame, but
is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Because, like, as you see, like, their privacy starts to erode, right?
Right.
And I mean, when I wrote this 4 years ago, I think even then, like, Snapchat and stuff like that it was a force, but
it was more for social, I would say.
Yeah, like,
now it's very much advertisement and broadcasting and networking and
yeah, because, like, 4 years ago, I didn't even know that celebrities got paid to post, like, things on, like, Snapchat and stuff. And that was happening back then, but, like, I didn't know that.
I think it's much more evident now because more are doing it and they're being more open about it.
Yeah.
So I could see that. Okay, so there's two groups in the book called the Muskrats and the Angelfish. And could you just give us a quick little, what are they?
Yeah, so the Muskrats, it's like an informal name for the Christian Democratic Party. So they're like the center-right party. And then the Angelfish are like the Democratic Socialist Party. And they've been fighting for years. Just kind of like, it's been like a cat and mouse game between them for decades. So, like, the Muskrats ruled for, like, some odd 18 years. Then the Angelfish ruled for, like, another 18 years. And they both have really, it seems like, yeah, Muskrats are, like, the conservatives, and then Angelfish are the I guess, liberals, but that's what it seems like on the outside. But I think when people read more into it, they see that it's a really complicated history, and you're not very sure who's supposed to be the good guy anymore.
Right, there's like a big conflict because they have more or less very similar ideals, but it's just different takes and opinions on it, I think, mostly, and it comes down to the people. So that's a good, I think it's good representation of now, people who do have maybe the same party, but they don't believe the same things, in a way.
Yeah, because, like Republicans and Democrats, so, like, the Republicans, there's, like, so many different kinds of them.
Right.
But
there's just levels, I think, to everything, to any opinion.
Yeah, and, like, with the Republican Party, like, I think a lot of them, like, they're good at uniting together. But the Democrats are really good at, like, splintering apart. Like, because you have, like, the you have like Bernie Bros, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have like these older Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
like centrists, and it doesn't seem to me that they're as good as like uniting together.
Right.
But both have pretty complicated histories.
Yes.
So yeah.
I could see that. And so, just based off the book and Nia Vasco, as a society, between the muskrats and the angelfish, which would you say you personally side with? Let me get that. I'm sorry. It's just an alarm.
Well, I would say like more the angelfish,
Mm-hmm.
especially like considering the muskrats, like the book that they all kind of like rally around,
Right.
like towards the end. I would say them, but I could see like there was parts of history where it would have been like more like the muskrats.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about like now, like 2020,
Right.
then it would be like probably still the angelfish.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I wrote the book, though, a lot of changes have happened.
Right.
So it's why like I'm debating like writing a sequel,
Oh yeah.
or at least like another story, like an original standalone book that can continue on, because Babak Ismailov, a lot of his views have changed in a way that's made him more likable, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
And not so like strong man, you
Right.
know. So
Cool. And I was also wanting to talk about Carlos, which is one of the more main characters for sure, and this girl named Ferris, right? So, what do you think you were, I don't know how to word this in a way that makes, because she does have a very controlling energy with Carlos, right? She does have that. And what was your opinion on that? Like, do you think they could ever move towards an actual relationship, or is it always going to just be her wanting that over him? Because since you were talking about going on for a sequel or something, that's something I was concerned of, just because that was kind of left open-ended.
Yeah, it's because I think Ferris liked the attention, but I'm not sure if she likes him.
Right. It might just be the idea of the dynamic.
I think she definitely. I'm not sure if Ferris like knows how to care about anyone.
Okay. I can see that in her personality. She was very.
Yeah, because like up until throughout the book, it's kind of I'm kind of hard pressed to like think of an instance like where she demonstrated like unconditional like concern.
She wasn't super compassionate as a person.
Yeah, everything was done like as a means to an end.
Right.
But there was never a time where it was like, oh, I just care about, I'm just worried about something.
Right. I'm not doing this because I think it's best for you. It's best in our interest maybe, but not specifically for the other person.
Yeah. So I think she's meant to be like a person that's like, people may admire her from like afar, maybe like on TV or something.
Right.
But it's like, I think people would get very flustered with her over like Carlos, obviously.
Yeah.
Carlos is very concerned because like she never takes anything personally. It seems like it's like you said, like everything was like for our best interest, for the country, you know. But it's never. I mean, I think she definitely has compassion towards the country.
Right.
But it's just
not on a one-on-one
level.
Like, she wasn't very good with that relating sense.
Yeah, and I think with Carlos, like he started out like really apolitical and just kind of wanting to have fun and stuff.
Right.
As any kid, I guess, would want.
He was very young.
Yeah.
For this whole.
But then I'm not entirely sure what attracts him to Ferris, other than like obvious things like
Right.
she's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think just the way their relationship came about. It was. I think anyone would get swept up in that of like it's an older girl.
Yeah.
And we're relating, and it seems like we care about each other, but it was really for her. It was not much more.
Yeah, like she was just kind of very. She had a more realistic like aspect. Like she was very mature.
Right.
But I think like when people are Carlos's age, it's like easy, like you said, to be like wrapped up like in an image or like you're in a relationship because it seems like everyone else isn't.
It's just fun to think about. I think that happens to a lot of people. So it's very relatable. I really liked that aspect just because I think that happens a lot, to people all the time. That whole like dynamic of someone caring more or thinking the relationship is more than it is. So that was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that in this story just because it did have, it had political, it had conflict among friends, among everyone. And then it just like, I mean, not in a bad way, but it was good because it kept it going. You wanted to know what happened next.
Conflict.
Yeah.
And some more conflict. But yeah, it's, I think it just goes to show like his age.
Right.
For sure.
Definitely. And then some more about Carlos, just because I feel like he was throughout the whole story for the most part. And between him and X, this character, do you think if they would have sustained their relationship, would it have changed maybe the outcome of the ending? Could he have maybe been a help to Carlos in a way?
I think, like, I would like to think so.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I feel like asking you is because you kind of have maybe not a complete sense of these characters.
Like
but
more insight.
Yes.
I mean, I think X is like so. The thing about him for me is that he's like so. He's someone that I think would be easy to admire because of his past.
Right.
But I think he's really afraid that people are gonna like look down on him for like what he's become, like as he's grown older. So I think one of the main things is that he doesn't understand that like Carlos would accept like being taken under his wing like unconditionally.
Right.
Because like that scene in the library, like when Carlos found out all this. I don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I don't want to say too much, but there's a scene, okay?
I think that scene, if you notice, he's not too worried about what X would have thought he would have worried about. Right?
Yeah. Carlos is he does think about what others are going to do or react in a different way than they usually do, but I think that happens, it's not too out of the ordinary. It's like, you think you know someone, right? Like, that's very true.
I think Carlos would have found out that, like, being by X's side would be harder than it seems.
Right.
So, maybe, like, in a sequel or something, like, that would be challenged.
Yeah.
Like, to where he would have that opportunity. The idea of, like, being eluded, like, not having something that you thought you needed.
Right. Okay.
And, like, how is that going to shape you as a person?
Yeah.
And is it worth, like...
all the trouble.
all the trouble and going nuts.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we ask ourselves, right? Okay, and then there's also a conflict between Merkaiba and Erica. And I was really interested in that just because they are very different people. And I don't know how much you want to say or not about that conflict, but what was your personal preference between the two? Which did you think was a better choice overall?
Well, with Merkaba, and Edrica, I think Merkaba would have sustained the dance team in a way that would have like not allowed like the whole media train to like go crazy.
I think she could have had a better hand on it just because she was more involved in the dance for the dance team.
Yeah, and she already kind of knew what like the executives were about and stuff.
Right.
So she was, like you said, like all just for like the dance team aspect, right? But with Edrica, it's just, I don't know. I don't think I would have wanted Edrica to win. But you know, it's like Khadija said, like I'm really concerned because you can't dance.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
But again, don't want to be into spoilers, but I guess Merkaba represented like stability, but Edrica was like gonna take them in the direction that they needed to go. So on the other hand, Edrica helped reveal a lot of truths about
the media and the whole BNT.
Yeah, because you realize that it's not about a dance team like at all.
It's really not. Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a vehicle.
Right. And so what I was going to say is that so things would have been different if Merkaba would have won. There probably would have been a better, maybe not such a rapid decline in the society or in the way things did end. Maybe it would have just been a little more, a slower fall into the end in a way.
Yeah, I think the whole media thing was inevitable, but like you said with Merkaba, it would have been maybe much slower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so talking about Khadija, when she does come back into the scene and she wants to set things straight and leak that information that she did, would you say that that was somewhat the right thing to do? Would you have maybe done the same in your own shoes? Or do you think that was just an extra element to get it going?
Well, I think Khadija just has like this complex, like she wants to save everyone. It seemed like when she was away, things were fine. Well, they weren't fine, but for her,
on the surface,
at least for her, they were, right?
Right.
And maybe on the surface, yeah. I had never really thought about that. It seemed like things were fine, but on the surface for her, maybe she was dealing with other. But at least for her, she was putting up this front for the reader, right? That everything's good, but and why would she want to come back to all that, right?
Yeah,
so
she could have just let him go.
Because they did everything to her except short of killing her, but right? But,
yeah.
I think she came back. It's debatable, like, did she come back out of selfishness?
Right.
Like, just wanting to be a good person? Just so she could be looked at as a great person? Or did she come back because she really cares about Filmax? I think she... Was it the right thing to do? I think it's very similar to like, the Merkaba thing. Because it's like... If Merkaba had stayed, she would have stayed.
Right.
But Merkaba didn't, so then she had to go for a little bit and then come back. I think it was like the right thing technically, because she was, at least she tells the readers that she's concerned about the truth. So
I do think she did it for maybe the right reasons.
Yeah.
Or at least the best outcome.
Yeah, but I don't think she realized just how subjective the truth is.
Right.
So, a lot of people I think would be like, she did a terrible thing. Because, like, she aided a lot of terrible people. That she didn't mean to, but she's like well-intentioned, but she ends up accidentally doing what's not in the best interest.
Right.
At least in a lot of people's eyes. I think a lot of other people would say, no, this is how it's meant to be, and she did it for the best interest, and she just did right, right? So I think that's the thing that a lot of people who love her may also have people who really dislike her.
Right. Yeah, see, and I think that for me as a reader, I did think that it was a good thing to do, but maybe that's just because I'm into the drama, and I thought it did add to it, and it kept it interesting. But I do think if she would have let it go, it would have just been maybe that much more drama, because then it would come out in a different way. But
yeah, maybe there would have been like a lot of like ironic situations,
right?
Because people don't know.
Yes.
So.
Cool. And then so next, I was talking again about that open ending that I thought, because it ends with, you know, Ferris and where she is, and do you mind? I feel like I did already mention this, but about Ferris and Carlos, if you ever did write another part, do you think, because I mean, you totally could. You could, in a way, make it so that maybe Ferris gets over herself and they do have a good relationship. Do you think that's a possibility, or do you like that they're apart?
Well, I've like tried to write the sequel. Well, kind of like dabbed with it a little bit, but there was times where I didn't feel like it made much sense. You know, like. But I think with the whole Ferris thing,
yeah.
You know, they're apart, and I think it's necessary for them to be apart right now. Maybe there's going to be a point where, like, they don't associate themselves with the political identities.
Right, because that's a big thing for them.
Yeah, or even their cultural identities, even though they're, like, the same culture. So...
yeah, they're just very different people, I think, their whole thing.
I don't know if Ferris could ever get over herself.
Yeah.
Because she goes through a lot of change, but, like, she herself doesn't really change that much.
Right. She'd have to be on a very, like, I think, long journey for herself.
Yeah.
To get to that point.
And I don't know if, like, there would be, like, this trope, like, where you thought she changed,
yeah.
but she didn't, really.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm back online.
Yeah, she's been on.
Yeah.
So then, pretty much, there's one more thing I did want to ask, but I don't know if it'll be too much into the story or too much given away. But you know how in the end, people passed away, right? Characters.
Yeah.
I
don't know why I'm laughing.
I know, it's because it's... I get it, no.
A lot of people passed away.
I feel like because I'm bringing it up like they're...
Yeah.
Okay. So, did Carlos, like in your mind, did he make it? Because he's not super evident in the end.
Well, like, I'm still like, if I were to write a sequel, like,
yeah,
I don't know, like, if it would make sense, like, to bring back the characters,
right?
Explain, like, the deaths that happened were like fake deaths or something.
Yeah. Like if it was a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like what if it was fake and all these people are, who knows, kidnapped by some corporation, another new corporation, you know, like,
so like
it would have to be a big thing, I think.
But see, sometimes I don't know if that would be like too gimmick.
It might be, I get it. Like that does sound very far-fetched to where it's like a Black Mirror episode, like that's just out there.
It's like, yeah, and people are gonna be like, it's kind of dumb, but...
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, bring it back in. Let's not...
Well, yeah, that's why I'm, like, concerned about a sequel, because I don't know if it would involve, like, primarily new characters.
Right.
Because I know a lot of people still want to know about Carlos and stuff.
Yeah.
So...
I think the older people, bring them in, you know?
Yeah, bring them in.
There's a mention of these older folks in the end. They're not very... explained, but I mean,
yeah,
if you did, I mean, that's what I would do personally, but then again, I've never written a book.
Maybe like the throwaway characters, just keep them dead, and then like,
okay,
that sounds very...
Well, that's how you get the story going, you know, it would be real, because that's what really happened, so...
Like Bianca, like, I really don't see, like, much of a reason to bring her back.
No, there is some we can leave them back there.
She was hard to write, and like just kill her. But I think she was meant to kind of not be too likable.
No,
if not likable at all, because
you have to have those that aren't good for the story, so it makes sense.
But like Khadija and stuff, I think could come back.
Right.
And I think if anyone were to fake their death and I could get away with it, it would be Etrica.
Right.
Then again, a lot of people seem to they're not too worried about her. They're just really worried about Eggs, Carlos, and Ferris.
Right.
I guess those are like the three people that maybe a must.
I think they're the most relatable and maybe the most like dynamic characters that you can see yourself as.
Yeah.
Maybe just because of the things they do go through in the story. But I think this was good. And is there anything else you want to add about the story you want anyone to know?
Just buy it. Just kidding.
It's on Amazon. I will put the link in the description. I really recommend. It's a good quality book. I mean, it's a good story, and if you're from Deming, you know Joe, and now you know someone who's published. So I think that's great, and I am proud of you.
I just think one thing to add would be like, I appreciate you buying it.
Definitely.
and being like, not only buying it, but like reading it. Like I was like, oh, you read it.
People do that. If I buy it, I gotta read it. I'm never gonna not. But no, I definitely felt like, I mean, we were acquaintances in school, and I'll support anybody. If you're from Deming, I will. So anything from Deming you want me to support, hit me up. I think this is really fun, and we are going to be doing another video, just more to get to know Joe as a person, and that will probably come up either before or after this one. I haven't decided the order. We'll talk about it. But thank you for watching, and make sure to check out Joe's book, and I'll put his socials in the description also, because he's really good on Instagram. He posts a lot of stories, and I feel like that's cool because I don't. So you should check his out. And thanks for watching.
Thank you.
But, okay, what do you think of that? You see yourself pretty.
No, yeah, it looks good.
Be sure. I feel like you're not sure.
Like I'm being too polite. No, yeah, I see myself.
Okay.
No, I do.
No, I know. It's because like I
like,
want your input. Like I want it to be.
No, I get it. Yeah. No, it looks pretty good.